what was mentioned by Siddharth is like, okay, this is happening. Like, it's the worst slavery we've ever seen, worst human atrocity we've ever seen. Then what do we do?
So the solution has to come from like the manufacturers. Like, those guys need to pay livable wages, and we need to demand it. Like, as consumers, we need to become aware that this thing exists. And then we need to say like, hey, Elon and everybody, like it's not just Elon who's the enemy. You know,
it's Apple, Samsung.
Siddharth calls it's everyone. And we as consumers need to basically demand that these people get treated like people.
Like, we got into such a bad situation that like we can't do anything about it, right? Like, what are we going to do? Not buy electronics tomorrow? Or we're going to buy like grass-fed electronics? It doesn't exist. Like, what is it? Like 75% of all of the cobalt in the world comes from this one region of Congo, and 15 of the 19 mines are controlled by China. So this is part of like a larger problem that we've let like
brought
get
to you
away
by the
from
Belt
us.
and Road Initiative.
Yeah. But this fits into so much of the other stuff like we talk about. Like, in the US, we've over the years we've stopped building things. We've turned into this like hyper financialized economy, and we're like, oh, we're like environmentally savvy people. We don't do these things because they're bad. We don't do the dirty things here because they're bad for the environment. Like, we don't mine these things here. We don't like build these things here because it's bad for the environment. But like, it just goes somewhere else. Like, we're all on the same planet. Like, so for decades, like China was happy to kind of just run around and just scoop up all of like the raw materials. Like, we're out here basically like printing dollars and just like funding like a big military, I guess, and just like sitting behind our two oceans. But China's been like running around, like getting all of the raw stuff that goes into building all the things we need. And not just like the green stuff, like solar panels and all of the battery. Like, we haven't even talked about the problems like in China. And like, he alluded to this, like you think like within China's own borders, there's not like basically like human slavery. Like, we've talked about the Uyghurs, like here, like that stuff is definitely going on. It's definitely happening in Apple products from what I've seen. It's one of the reasons I think Apple is trying to hightail it out of there as quickly as possible, because I think they feel like the public backlash coming against what they've done. But like, this is like the essence of like some of our good, like well-intentioned policies go awry, right? Like you mentioned, like the largest thing in the world that's like soaking up cobalt right now is like the batteries in electric cars. And why are we building all these electric cars? It's like allegedly to save the environment, right? But it's just like like people don't like Doomberg. For people who don't read Doomberg, he's a green chicken like anon on the internet. And he writes about energy a lot, and like he's written a lot about how moving to all electric vehicles right now is incredibly stupid. If you look at just like the total sort of like reduction in environmental impact that you get, he did an analysis that people should read on like hybrids versus like full electric vehicles, and hybrids like. They have like just orders of magnitude greater impact, net impact positive on the environment than these electric vehicles right now for a variety of reasons, right? But one of them is that like you're making the battery so much bigger than you need to, and like the benefit you're getting like isn't that much more, because like the energy still largely comes from a grid that isn't full of renewables. We as you said, like we now have to get all of these like raw rare earth minerals and cobalt and lithium. Where like the kind of quotas they want us to meet over the next like decade or two are ridiculous. And like, who controls all this stuff? China. Does China care about human rights or the environment? No. And that's the other thing like we didn't touch upon. Like he was talking about like the environmental impact there. It's almost feels secondary, like next to the human tragedy, but like they're just annihilating like the entire country. It's like turning into like a wasteland from the mining. It's so bad on so many levels.